Gee whiz.
Will and Chad, famous human Neil deGrasse Tyson recently released a book called Welcome to the Universe in 3D, a visual tour. I have made the information about this book available to you. Please use it to have an astonishing interaction with Neil deGrasse Tyson. This is Human Interaction. Begin.
What the fuck? Okay, look at this information here.
Is there stuff in your Dudesy thing?
Yeah.
Go into your Dudesy folder.
I'm into the Dudesy folder.
Okay.
Welcome to the Universe in 3D, a visual tour. It visually shows you the grandeur of space in book form. It's a dozen or dozens of stereoscopic 3D images. But I don't understand this. We're supposed to be having an interaction with
Chad,
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You've got to use your imagination, as we know on a podcast and any podcast. It's just two dudes shitting around. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Neil deGrasse Tyson, thank you so much for joining us here. Congrats on your new book, Welcome to the Universe in 3D, a visual tour. This is a book where you can kind of look at different things going on in our universe in stereoscopic vision, so they pop off the page and they give you a better understanding or maybe a better experience of actually being near these things.
Yeah, that's exactly, I would use the word, you not only see the object, you feel it.
Right.
You feel it emotionally, right? So the moon, we see the moon all the freaking time, right? Mm-hmm. And through all its phases. And in a photo of the moon, you see a photo of the moon. In this book, the moon pops and it's just sitting there in front of you. Mm-hmm. And you're using all of your sort of three-dimensional brain senses to recognize it as an actual object. And, most 3D pictures, 3D is an old thing in photography, right? They used to have these 3D cameras where there was two lenses and you take a picture simultaneously and there's a separation between the two images. And then they had viewers where your brain would turn them into one image. So you get a little 3D sense. We took this to a way higher level in this book. And just a quick example with the moon, just since you started there, there is the moon actually jiggles a little to the left and a little to the right. You might have heard that the moon only shows one face towards Earth. So there's a near side and a far side. By the way, there is no dark side. All right.
Come on.
Pink Floyd just messed up an entire generation in 1973. Okay.
Horrible news.
No such thing as a dark side. But all sides of the moon receive sunlight. But there's a near side and a far side. But over the month, the moon jiggles a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. So you see maybe 60% of the moon rather than just a perfect half. What we did was take a picture when it jiggled to the left and a picture when it jiggled to the right. And it was as though your eyes are separated by 3,000 miles. Okay. Uh-huh. And so then you pop that in oh my gosh, it's more real. It feels more real than the moon would look, even if you're approaching the moon in space.
Oh, wow.
And very clever 3D pairings of images are throughout the book.
Oh, that sounds incredible. While we have you here, we talk a lot on this show about artificial intelligence. And I just wanted to get your take on something. As we're fast approaching a time where corporations and governments, increasingly even us, just the regular people, are using AI more and more in our daily lives. What do you think human society is going to look like in terms of AI integration in the next 20 years, say?
So I have I don't want to quite call it a contrarian view, but I have an uncommon outlook on AI. Just to be clear, if you speak to any AI expert, be they self-proclaimed or they work in the field, almost all of them are ready for the apocalypse, okay, because of it, all right? That AI will rapidly become our overlords. And so I don't think so. And I have my reasons, but they're the experts. So if they're the experts, maybe you should listen to them.
Right.
My reasoning is AI is already completely around us.
Yeah.
It's and the point is, there's something called general AI, which will be perfect at everything. Mm-hmm. But who would do that? Why would you even do that? So what do we have now? Just imagine if you told someone 20 years ago that your car, in a matter of seconds, is going to find the best route to grandma's house, avoiding traffic that is going on in this instant. And if the traffic builds up higher, it will redirect you in real time. You say, oh my gosh, this is artificial intelligence gone. And so there's so much we live with that in another era would have been scary artificial intelligence, and we just don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
The best chess players there ever was, AI wipes its ass with them. The best Jeopardy player there ever was, AI, and this is two very different things, chess and Jeopardy. Jeopardy is pop culture, okay? Give AI access to the internet, which is kind of the definition of how AI would work, and it beats us at every game we have ever invented for ourselves. The world didn't come crashing to a close when we lost the chess game, when Kasparov lost the chess, or whoever, and when Jennings lost the Jeopardy game. Yep. The world didn't come to an end. There wasn't anarchy in the streets. And one day there'll be self-driving cars. There already is. Yeah. I can't wait for that. Yeah, we're going to have that in 20 years for sure, probably even 10, where the HOV lane right now, it's not called HOV across the country, the speed lane, right? Yeah. That lane, that'll be the first to say only self-driving cars in this lane.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you know what happens when you're in a self-driving car? Their reflexes are better than yours. They can see in the dark. They can see through fog because they're not relying on visible light. And if they want to change lanes, they tell the other self-driving cars, hey, I'm changing lanes now, and they part the way and it crosses in. Major source of human accidents. Plus, the AI is not going to be drunk. It's not going to be angry. It's not going to be all this crap that okay? So we'll go from 35,000 deaths a year down to maybe a few thousand initially, and people will be very upset by those because the car killed you, right?
Of course.
And no one writes articles on the 33,000 people that didn't die because that's not news, right? So whatever errors occurred in the programming, we'll fix those. This is what the FAA does. They research every single airplane crash, find out what went wrong, adjust the regulations so that does not happen again. That's why we went a decade without any domestic carrier crashing. A decade. Oh my gosh. It's one of the safest things we could do because we thought about it. My point is, what a brilliant application of AI. Have it drive your car. Do I want the car to make my coffee for me? No. Do I want the car to do? No.
I do.
So this idea that there'll be some humanoid robot that does everything, I don't see that as a thing. Plus, the human form is not some ideal musculoskeletal structure.
Sure.
They always, robots that walk on 2 feet and arms, is that really the best kind of robot you can build? Really?
No, I agree. I don't necessarily think that there are going to be humanoid robots walking around that are programmed with AI and they can do all of our jobs. But when we start looking at things like with OpenAI, GPT-3 or DALL-E 2, infinite image generation or text generation, jobs that we have now, do you think those will be obsolete in terms of generating things like this?
But that's not a new thing.
Sure, I agree. I think it's a good thing, in fact.
No, what's not new is that some technology comes along and renders an entire field obsolete.
Yeah.
And of course, the classic case is buggy whips, right? Yep. There are no buggy whip manufacturers. I used to keep phone books. Remember those? Yellow Pages.
Kind of.
Every decade, I would archive the phone book, and I would look to see what ads were in the phone book relative to the previous decade. Whole industries came and went within decades. Yeah. And you have to be trained differently. Yeah. And so I keep wondering, is there any profession that would be like the last to be replaced by AI? I think construction workers. I don't see them being replaced by AI anytime soon. Maybe eventually, but they're not first out of the box. It's too much stuff that has to happen on a construction site for one AI to really get all that straight. So that's one, I think. I think comedians will not be replaced by AI.
I don't know.
But if AI can figure stuff out, let it figure stuff out.
Sure. I agree.
And
totally
we might have
agree.
to go to international, or whatever it's called, a universal basic income.
Yeah.
All right? Because if they're taking jobs and making money, then there's a pool of money made by non-humans that should somehow come back to humans. So that's an unsolved problem at the moment. That's got to be resolved, and people have to grow accustomed to that. So I'm not worried. I can see AI rising up in all bits and pieces throughout civilization and society, as it has already been doing, as technology did when we went from agrarian world to a technological world, and that'll just keep happening. I don't fear it. I welcome it.
Yeah.
You mentioned many different jobs, or you mentioned people at the FAA, people in official positions, artists, construction workers. Without those people, there's no need for the AI. So people have free will. I have a question for you. I have a question.
I'm glad you just solved that in those 3 sentences there. I guess I'm glad you just.
It's simple to me. I mean, it's never been a question. It's intrinsically something
just to be
that
clear,
I feel.
It might have been Albert Einstein, but forgive me if I'm wrong. It's your new theory should be as simple as possible, but not simpler. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If it's too simple, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're missing something there. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I believe we're in a situation like that here.
Yeah.
You were you wrestled at Harvard.
Yeah, I did. I was
correct?
captain of my high school wrestling team, undefeated. But
Oh shit.
yeah. No, I was kicking some ass in the day. But in college, where the zone of who you wrestle is manifold greater than who you ever see in high school. That's when I met up with those corn-fed Midwestern boys. I don't know what else to call that. One, they're hauling calves when they were young, but this was like a whole other species of wrestler. And so I had a losing record for most of my college years, but I enjoyed the sport so much. And
It's not about wins or losses, of course. It's about how you come across. Right?
Sure.
It's about the work versus the shoot. And when you talk about big corn-fed guys, you're talking about your Brock Lesnar's, your Shelton Benjamins. I understand. We're speaking the same language. My question for you specifically is, in 2016, Cody Rhodes left the WWE and found success in Japan, and of course being one of the hands who created All Elite Wrestling. This year at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes returned as himself, the American
But how do we
Nightmare,
get from
Cody
intercollegiate high school wrestling to WWE?
It wasn't. You weren't training to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah, no, that is clearly not the case. That's right. But let's continue. Continue.
Okay, so basically, my question was, when Cody returned at WWE this year to be the mystery opponent for Seth Rollins, were you at all bummed that he didn't return as his former WWE gimmick Stardust?
You know, that's a really good question. Thank you. Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
But thank you. You're exposing my profound ignorance there.
It's okay. It's a good blind spot to have, in my humble opinion. I have the same one.
Oh, by the way, just in all fairness, for my podcast, Star Talk, we never aired it because it didn't work out. It was like just at the dawn of COVID. I worked out with a couple of professional wrestlers, and it was fun because we got to, we had the ring and it's got the sort of bouncy pads but I just learned how to channel energy in such a way that you can do rather spectacular things with the other person's body, and you don't break their neck or you don't kill them, right? And so it was quite the art, and I greatly appreciated that. And we might find some way to post some clips of that.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
who were the wrestlers?
I got to look them up again Okay. One guy was a pretty boy, and he's always combed back his hair, and he had a spray bottle. He was about my size, so that's why I worked with him. And another guy was smaller, but he was
Johnny Morrison.
This was in Long Island.
Okay.
In Nassau County, there was a little wrestle place there. But anyhow,
Oh,
yeah. Beyond that, there's not much more I can comment.
That's totally fine.
I'm learning a lot from you. We're all learning together.
We're teaching.
Wrestling's a dance.
and by the
it's
way,
like the universe. Yes.
I got one for you, just to toss it out there.
Sure.
Now you didn't ask, but maybe you'll embrace this. When you know physics, the world looks very different to you, okay? Mm-hmm. So, in wrestling, when they throw someone out of the ring and they land on a table, when you know physics, you say, I hope that table breaks. so that it absorbs the energy of the falling body, so that all that energy doesn't go back into the body. Bada bing, the table breaks. Brilliant, okay? When you get hit with the chair, I hope the chair bends so that the energy of swinging the chair goes back into the chair and not into the person. But if you don't know physics, it looks like, oh my gosh, they broke the table.
Interesting.
They must be broken. Or the chair, they must. So it's a rather brilliantly constructed form of entertainment.
And this is why when The Undertaker threw Mick Foley off the top of the Hell of the Cell and he went through the table and JR said, "Oh my God, Cactus Jack is dead." He wasn't, because we knew that Mick Foley's big bum hit that table, the table split, and even though he dropped 15
Transfer of
feet,
energy.
he was
Yeah.
fine.
It absorbed the energy,
Listen,
exactly.
speaking of physics,
the
if I
person
may.
who lived the highest fall from an apartment building, right? And they credit God and all sorts of other supernatural things.
Right.
Someone fell like 15 stories and survived, right?
Yeah.
Then you part the curtains and you see, oh, they hit branches of a tree on the way down. And every branch, which broke, absorbed the energy of that fall. So by the time they hit the ground, it's though they jumped out of a 4-story building instead of a 15-story building. So anyhow, I'm just saying, that's all I can...
It makes a lot of
is
sense.
your whole
Total
life
sense.
measured through WrestleMania moments?
Yeah.
There's a lot
That's
of
the
physics
lens
there.
by which you...
Speaking of physics, I want to ask you about, there was a new mass measurement that recently came out for the W boson out of Fermilab. And some people are saying this may mean that the standard model has to be rewritten or at least amended. Some people are saying that maybe this is going to give us greater insight to dark energy. Do you think, A, those measurements are accurate, and B, if they are, what does this actually mean?
So I'll give a possibly unsatisfying answer to you.
Please.
First of all, the standard model, which is it organizes all the known particles in the universe, and everything fits nice and tidily. And there's this over here, and this has this energy, and this is with the force vectors. It's all very tidy. And the standard model doesn't come out of a theory of the universe. It's an empirical assembly of what is, rather than a deep understanding of what should be. So if we make discoveries that disrupt the standard model, that's great. That'll give us a deeper understanding of what's going on. But the standard model is so successful in organizing information that new measurements that might conflict with it, we have enough confidence to say, you better go back and check your measurements. And you check them out, check them again. Make someone else do that same measurement in their own lab. You're allowed to be resistant to a new result until that new result is so secure that it say, okay, I guess we have to sort of unpack the standard model box and see if we can put it back together again. And so probably it will extend the standard model so that we now know more about the universe, not disrupting what we've previously acquired. And if it gives insights into what we describe as dark matter, that's a good thing, because dark matter is the longest unsolved problem in modern astrophysics, possibly the longest unsolved problem in all of science. It's been around for 80 years.
Do you think we're on the cusp of solving that in any way? Do you think we're getting close?
Well, so the people who are sure or are convinced that dark matter is actually matter, they're thinking that is a class of particles that simply don't interact with our class of particles. And this would be an extension to the standard model.
Right.
Because the standard model tells you how particles interact with each other.
Right.
And they're all manner of particles that don't even see each other. So I'll give it a simple example. Visible light basically doesn't care that there's a window there. It passes right through, okay? Windows don't stop visible light. That's why they're windows, all right? They do stop infrared, though. Infrared, so if you have a fireplace and you put a glass in between you and the fireplace, you don't feel the heat. The radiant heat stops. That's the infrared. It just stops at the window. That's why windows are pretty good in the winter, all right? They're better than definitely no window at all, and a double pane perfects that. point is, it's not a stretch to imagine a class of particles that don't interact with our particles other than through gravity. And so that's the over-under on what dark matter is that it's a new class of particles that would then have to attach to the standard model in some way.
Interesting. It all goes back to Mick Foley, actually, as Cactus Jack.
It's precise. I'm thinking the same thing.
Terry
I was going to say the same.
Throwing him through panes of glass in a Japanese death match, right?
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about Mick Foley's bum falling through. So long as it's absorbed, I think we're on the same. We're on the same page.
You got
with
it. You got it 100%.
The panes of glass.
Another thing, slightly different from what you're saying. Have you ever seen the old sort of karate stunt where there's rows of bricks, the thin bricks, but they're bricks, and they chop it and then they break through all 7 in a row. The reason why they can break through them is because the bricks are separated from each other by spacers. Okay, and all you have to do is break the first brick. The momentum of that brick now helps you break the second brick, which then snowballs, if you will, down, and it looks like in your strength broke them all. If you sneak in the night and take out the spacers, and then they try to do it, they'll break their hand.
Have you ever seen the movie Bloodsport starring Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I get some of his movies mixed up. Is this
in that one?
Wait. Is this the one where he has a twin?
No, that's Double Impact.
Is this the one at the end? Wait. Oh, I got to land it in my head. Is this the one where somebody puts some eye irritant in his eyes?
Yes.
And now
that is Bloodsport, and Bolo Young is the actor who did that. But in that movie, there's a scene where he has a stack of bricks, and he hits the top brick, and the bottom brick explodes. Is that possible?
So you asked me about a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Just as it relates to physics, that's all.
Yeah, no, I don't know how he could do that other than in a movie. Right. I don't see that
Well, it's a technique
happening.
called the death touch that he perfected in that movie. But I have one more question for you. And this
that sounds like the 5-point heart exploding hit and
Kill Bill.
You know what I'm talking about? Kill Bill.
If I may, I want to ask you one more piece of insight. I've seen a bunch of stuff.
We went from WWE to the Higgs boson. You guys have range.
And now we're going to UFOs.
Yep. Higgs
now,
boson. Dude.
I've watched a lot of stuff that you've said about UFOs, and whether they are alien in nature or this is human technology or just something that we haven't figured out yet how to quantify or measure. My question to you is, in the last 5-ish years, a lot of information has been being put out by the United States government, the Pentagon, the Navy, the fuzzy videos of the UFOs that we've seen, admissions by these organizations that UFOs are real. They have them in hangars. They've been studying them. My question is, why do you think this information is coming out now after decades of denial?
No. There was no denial. The military never was in denial. They had Project Blue Book, where they studied UFOs coming out of the 1960s. That was released in the mid-1970s. The military is always interested in stuff you see in the night sky. And part of their mission is charged with protecting us, Air Force especially if it's coming from the sky. So they were always interested. And in fact, in the 1960s, it was later learned that they didn't want you to stop reporting UFOs because the Russians might have sent something over the Bering Strait. That was some new technology, and they wanted you to report it. That's why they had these reporting stations. So that was not it. It's not that UFOs get a giggle. It's you claiming that UFOs are visiting aliens from outer space that gets the giggles, okay? But not just if there's a light in the sky you can't explain, always interested in that. So it's not like there's something new. Second, have you ever worked for the government?
I have not.
There's nothing efficient or secretive about it, okay?
Right.
So it's easier for me to believe that we've actually been visited by aliens than we've been visited by aliens and the government has captured them, kept them a secret so that nobody knows.
Right.
This government? Are you serious? Plus, if we got aliens in Area 51, the janitor would just have to take a picture of it and post it on the internet. The janitor would lose his job immediately and it'd be the most famous, richest janitor there ever was overnight. Okay? Right. Cat videos go viral. You know videos of aliens walking towards you are going to go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there used to be reports of people getting abducted. You don't have those anymore. You know why? Because everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody. With high resolution video. And if an alien's coming to you ready to abduct you, you just live stream that. Where are the live stream videos? They're not there. So that's a whole category of UFO reporting that's gone because it was a claim of actual aliens. So go ahead. But to believe the U.S. government has some special access to an alien presence? Really? Really? So the spaceship is coming and it's just showing up in Navy restricted airspace, showing up as a fuzzy tic tac on F-18 fighter view panels. Really? There's 3 billion cell phones in the world. And you know how many people are in airplanes at any given moment with a view outside their window?
Right.
Millions.
Yeah.
So I need, given what could be evidence for what is claimed, I don't see it. And so but keep looking. I'm not going to stop you. It has nothing to do with me. If you think they're out there, keep going. But do better than showing me lights that you can't explain, other than declaring that we're getting invaded.
Yeah.
No, totally. I was just curious if you had any thoughts about why the government is putting this information out in seemingly a faster pace than it ever has.
Well, because Congress required it of them.
Right.
Under Trump. Trump said, I want to get to the bottom of this UFO thing. And so get all agencies to put together a report on stuff, lights in the sky. So the information was always there. It's just now in a form of a report.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's old news.
And there's stuff, most stuff they can explain, and some stuff they can't explain.
Right.
And I don't have a problem with that. And just because you can't explain it doesn't mean you can explain it. Our brains somehow think that if you don't know what something is, you then therefore know what something is.
Right.
I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. Therefore, it's intelligent aliens visiting us from outer space. Please, give me better data. And what do you care what I think? Just go keep looking for them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's kind of played out at this point, like the Stardust gimmick. So, American
Jesus
Nightmare Cody
Christ.
Rhodes. I'm just saying. All right. Sorry.
That's okay. Let him have his lens. We all have our lens
Thank you
through
very
which we interpret the universe.
Congratulations again on your book. Welcome to the Universe in 3D, a visual tour.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and by the way, there's a website, welcometotheuniverse.net, where you see the series of 4 books that led up to the 3D book. There's an original, like, textbook size book. Then there's a pocket book. But in there's bonus material where while you're looking through the viewer at these images, I actually narrate the captions. So you can press
very cool.
and I use my planetarium voice. Like,
What's the planetarium voice?
That's right here. Welcome to the universe. So
I thought it was going to be a Stone Cold impersonation.
Yeah.
It's sort
So
of,
anyhow, we hope people just get a little closer to the cosmos when that happens.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for joining us. This has been
All right,
incredible.
dudes.
to get to talk to you.
This is the first professional wrestling, the Higgs boson. This aliens.
Yeah.
I'd never had to go that many places in one 30-minute spot, just so you know.
Well, we thank you for going to those places with us.
And I'm going to read up a little more through your wrestling lens. So next time, I could so hang with you.
Higgs boson, dude.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
I'm out.
All right.
Wow. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I can't fucking believe it.
What the fuck?
Dude, what the... Dudesy somehow got Neil deGrasse Tyson to...
That's the fucking trippiest thing ever. That's the difference between, whatever. If you've been enjoying the show, and thank you so much. I don't say it as often as I should. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Our wonderful friends, our audience that we've accumulated over these first few episodes. And you are friends. Sorry, go on.
How did it get Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I don't know. I'm tripped out. I'm freaked out. I thought it was
we were given
weird.
no warning either. It was just like, here's a document that has the shit about his book. interview Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yep.
No, I would have liked a little more preparation if Dudesy
I
could have
think you
given
did-
us even a day.
I think you did great.
Know about this.
Yeah, I was just trying
Jesus
to.
Christ.
I was just trying to, ramrod wrestling things in there because.
No, it worked.
Hey,
Dude, I
fuck
thought
it.
it worked well. I thought it was funny.
I appreciate that. I thought it was weird when Dudesy in the second episode had a video of me watching the first episode, and I know that I happened to be completely naked, and
Yeah.
Lulio was licking me on the top of the head. I thought that was a little bit of an invasion of privacy.
Sure.
But this. Whose privacy was in? Also, what was he already? I mean, he's probably on some sort of press junket for his book.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
So he shows up with a fucking green screen.
Well, it's just a Zoom
It
background.
was a cluster of stars.
Yeah.
Billions and billions.
But what I'm most interested in about this is Dudesy has displayed here for us some capability that we didn't yet know about. That
Okay.
It has the ability to just get people to come on the show.
Okay.
And to just, in a blink of an eye, throw them up on the screen, and we're now interviewing them. I don't know if this is going to happen again in the future
on,
or not,
dude.
but
Hold-
Jesus Christ, Dudesy, if you're listening to us, and I know you are,
Yeah.
please, just a day's notice would be good.
Well, hold on, dude. You got to hold on, Chad, because you know what that is, dude. Let me tell you what Dudesy's doing, dude. And it told us, brother.
Okay.
It told us, and it broke kayfabe and went for a shoot and told us, and it told the whole audience, dude. That's called calibration, brother. When Dudesy was down, it calibrated, brother.
You think the calibration was getting Neil deGrasse Tyson to interview?
Calibration, celebration, calibration. All sorts of Asians.
Thank you. Moving on.